Guys, I'm so excited for the Friends reunion special and just found out that James Corden is hosting. Okay, pivot. What's going on, you guys? James here with another real review and recap of the Friends reunion special, which is, yes, right now streaming on HBO Max. I've been waiting for this one for quite a long time. I'm a fan of Friends. Now, I'm not a diehard fan, but I have seen the entire series. This also has a subtitle that you might not know of that I found out right before watching it. It's called The One Where They Get Back Together. Give me 2 seconds. It's directed by Ben Winston, and yes, we have our OG cast back: Jennifer Aniston, Courteney Cox, Lisa Kudrow, Matt LeBlanc, Matthew Perry, and David Schwimmer, along with some other guests, some celebrities, and some that were already in the show that made some brief cameos. We'll talk about whether or not that works in a little bit, and what I loved about the reunion special in general. But before we get into it, guys, if it is your first time here at the channel, welcome to Real James, where I talk about movies and TV like this all the time, so if you don't want to miss out, go ahead and hit the big red button below, subscribe to the channel, and tap on that big bell so you go ahead and stay up to date with anything new, and hit the thumbs up button if you're a fan of Friends, and get loud down below, guys, and let me know what you guys thought of this. Again, I want to know, were you disappointed? Were you happy? Let's talk about it down below. Now, one thing that completely took me by surprise before hitting play was the fact that this is an hour and 43 minutes. That's about a half an hour longer than the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion on HBO Max, which we did review for the channel, and yes, I loved it. And I loved how the show opened with the series finale episode, that final moment from season 10, and then this amazing transition to the original cast returning to that very same apartment. It was really heartfelt, and honestly, that's one of the things that we're going to talk about now in the positives. It just is one of those reunions that is for the fans, guys. It warmed my heart to see everybody back together for the first time in ages, and it was beautiful to hear them share how the show impacted them. And there are certain jokes that I laughed at that a lot of fans that really weren't too into Friends, it'll just go over their heads. So guys, if you are a diehard fan, you're gonna find a lot of their little conversations on the side to be really enjoyable. And the reunion special really is at its best when it is just Monica, Ross, Rachel, Phoebe, and Joey. Like in the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion, I didn't need everything else, all the glitz and glamour. I just wanted our cast back together, having conversations where we almost felt like we were a fly on the wall, but we were really engaged in everything that they were sharing, whether it be stories, behind the scenes, and a lot of different experiences that we otherwise didn't get in the final product. Now we'll talk about everything else that happened in between with this Friends reunion, but I found myself really thinking that this was at its best when we got our main cast and it was uninterrupted. That's when we started to see the other side of this reunion, which was a visceral side, very emotional. And yes, Jennifer Aniston crying, girl, I was about to cry with you. There were some amazing moments here. I was also a sucker for all of the behind the scenes stories and the unseen footage. There's a lot of that, guys. I mean, there's footage I've never even seen before, and I love the fact that we were able to see different moments like Joey dislocating his shoulder, or actors on set in front of the live audience long after the camera finishes rolling. That is so special. Like, there's a moment between Ross and Rachel at the end that I was getting so incredibly attached to where I almost didn't want it to stop. And I was really happy that they gave a heavy focus to the showrunners and producers of Friends, because their stories really helped put the show into a different context for me. It was so nice to hear their testimonies and how everything materialized from script to screen, and also it was super cool to see how even the screenwriters, for example, would have to change up a joke because it didn't hit with the live audience. So it was neat to see how intricate the production for this show was, because it is a classic for a reason. There's a lot of heart and soul that was put into it. And what really made me smile again was being placed into the world of Friends that I've been away from for so long. Yeah, I have some of the seasons on DVD, but I'm really excited to try and go and revisit Friends all over again, because this is a sitcom that I really enjoy, and it was just so cool to hear the theme song and hear how they reacted to it after a while. And I don't know what it is, guys, but that theme song is going to be stuck in my head all weekend. I simply love how they revisited a lot of amazing scenes, like Ross and Rachel's first kiss in Central Perk, and I really loved how they ended this reunion with the final episode and stories from that moment. And there's just a ton going on in this reunion, guys. You have your original cast visiting set for the first time, sitting on the couch and sharing stories, and then you have them in front of a live audience with James Corden. But guys, that's going to be part of the negatives, which we're going to get into right now. There's almost too much going on with this reunion special. What really didn't work for me here was having James Corden host and that segment being as long as it was. I just gotta get it out there, guys. It was really unnecessary. Why do we need a host? Why don't we just have our cast come together, share stories? Why do we need so much extra? There was a lot of filler here that I never loved. And honestly, guys, James Corden, I know he's talented, right? That carpool karaoke is cool, but why does he have to be in everything? I also hated how it completely took me out of the reunion. They were all in front of a live audience audience for these segments with James Corden, and it felt too much like a talk show. It also ruined really great moments like table read sessions that were incredibly engaging, because the cuts away from those moments and back in front of the live audience with James Corden, it just broke all of that immersion. But what really made me scratch my head was the editing and structure of this special. It felt really uneven, and that's due to the constant cuts to different environments. We have our friends together on set in the apartment, and then they cut away to the live audience with James Corden, and they do that again and again and again, and then we get testimonies sprinkled in between. So it felt like, as an overall experience, this wasn't as cohesive as it should have been, but I can definitely pick out some moments that I loved. I just wish the editing was so much smoother. And I also really don't know why it needed to be overly produced like it was. It really just hurt the flow of the reunion for me. And speaking of overly produced, guys, there are some segments here and games that they play that I was just not a fan of. Oh my gosh, there's a fashion show sequence that we'll talk about in a little bit, but why? Yes, I loved Ross hosting the trivia with the rest of the cast, but everything else, it was just filler. There are just way too many celebrities in this reunion special that had no connection to the show, that didn't need to really be there. I liked Reese Witherspoon being a part of it because, you know, she had something to do with the show, and I appreciated them bringing back some other cast members and supporting actors and actresses. That was really neat. But everything else, why? I don't know. I don't hate these other celebrities. I think they're great, but why were they present in this reunion? And I completely shook my head at this fashion show they put together with Cara Delevingne and Justin Bieber. I like both of them. Justin Bieber's Justice album is still on repeat, guys. But why are they dressing up in these outfits that we saw on the show? It's cute to go down memory lane, but I almost feel like that's an idea that was better on paper than for the audience that's at home watching it, because we're not there, so there's no energy. I'm just watching people clap for Justin Bieber dressed up in the Sputnik outfit, and that's cute and all, but guys, it does not resonate and it doesn't translate to that at-home viewing experience. Honestly, it was moments like this that were a complete chore to get through, and they completely bogged down the last chunk of this reunion special. But overall, you guys, this special on HBO Max isn't terrible, and that's the thing. I think it's kind of in the middle for me. It's something that is necessary because this is such a legendary show, and we did get the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and I'm thinking, okay, we'll get Friends here, we'll get The Office down the road, who's next? I think it would be so great to see some actors that have worked together for so many years reunite and share stories about how the show's affected them, and that's where I think this reunion special is at its best, when we just get our actors and actresses talking to one another on such an emotional ground level, and it's beautiful to see. But then you have the fashion show, James Corden hosting, these conversations in front of a live audience. I just don't know why any of that was included. It almost felt like too much was added to this, and it really bloated the runtime. In an hour and 43 minutes, guys, that is a film for all intents and purposes, and that might make other Friends fans really happy, but I wish that they trimmed off some of what we got here to make it a cleaner experience, because I can't tell you guys I'm going to go back and watch this again. But with all those negatives aside, I still loved being a part of the Friends world again for nearly 2 hours, and it was great to see every actor just come together and be funny, and just really love the fact that they were doing this for 10 years, and you can tell how much of an imprint Friends made on other people's lives. So yes, if you're a fan of this series, guys, you need to watch Friends The Reunion on HBO Max this weekend. But if you're not a diehard fan, or if you're just over Friends, this might not be a high priority for you, but what I will say, give it a shot, because there are moments here that I really loved. It's just everything in between that I don't think worked very well. So there you have it, guys. That's my real review and recap of the Friends Reunion special on HBO Max. Let me know down below what you thought of it. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? We can definitely have a conversation down below. And if you haven't already, guys, go ahead and hit the big red button below and subscribe to the channel and tap on that bell. Again, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you at the next screening. I'm going to try and get this theme song out of my head. I don't know what to listen to.